Mino Lion Media presents Business First.
Hi, all, and welcome to a new edition of Business First with Sonia Aline. I am your host, and today we're going to talk about something a little different. Usually, most of my podcasts have been about strategy and how to move yourself forward, not necessarily how to move yourself forward in business, but how to move your business forward. Today, we want to talk about health because without health, right, you cannot increase your wealth. There is no opportunity to move forward or to move your business forward. And so, with me, I have a very interesting guest. He started his career as a filmmaker in Hollywood and has transitioned into a number of different creative spaces. But he is also a biochemist, and I will call you an herbal manager, Johnny Desarmes.
Something like that.
Does that
one,
work?
Sonia. That's nice. Yes, I'll work
An
with
herbal
that.
manager? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
I'll work with that.
welcome to the podcast.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
And so you and I have had these conversations very often, and I thought it would be great to share this with the listening audience because you've done a lot of great work that has helped me perform better, to think better about my work. And it's something that business people don't think about a lot. We always think about running to get the money, to get the contract, to make things happen. I listened to a YouTube presentation today where they were like, you don't need to sleep 8 hours, you don't need to sleep 6 hours because it's about, getting out there and getting that money. And you have a very different approach to how you should think about yourself as a business person, right? In terms of being able to perform your best and to present your best. And so that's what I'd like us to talk about today. What would you say is one of the biggest mistakes that business people make in regard to their health?
That's a loaded question. It's
It
a
is
good
a loaded
one.
question.
That's a loaded
Yeah.
one. Thank you for having me again, Miss Sonia. And thank you for all the praising, the compliment, the gratitude. I'm I don't know how to accept those things, but I'm accepting them, all jokes aside. When we joke together, it's a different perspective than how I feel in regards to humanity. Um, I'm a guide, I think, because I'm curious to understand God better. But the idea of God, the ideology of what we're here to do as humans, as I get older and a little bit wiser, I get to understand a little clearer how to approach things, and things that I know I've seen and experienced, I share with others because they've worked consistently enough for me to feel proud to express them. Like the Bible says, in the beginning is the word. So your sound frequency is very important to match the other two, frequency, vibration, and energy, which is your sound equals to what you do in the physical world and what comes back to you as harvest. In terms of health, the Bible say keep your temple clean. It meant your holy temple, which is your body. And first thing all people should do to truly take care of themselves, including those who are working extremely hard to take care of their family, is to simply do a full analysis of their what they represent in physiology, which means you go to um, a doctor. Besides doing a general checkup, you run a whole diagnostic on your whole system, specifically your blood, to see what's in it and how to get it clean and then recharge you. So when you do that, you can see what elements out of the 102 you are missing in your nutrient diet and to increase them or to decrease some you're using too much and allow some others to work better with you in conjunction. So for the new human being should be built in that facet where we're no longer guessing what's causing us a problem. Because what I've learned over the years is that a human being is not sick, they're lacking certain elements which cause the body to behave poorly and doesn't regulate itself properly. So the human domino effect into, well, I have organ failure, I have skin disease, I have congested disease, I have cholesterol, diabetes, you name it, they can name it, but it only happened due to lacking certain balance in their body. So the human that's working need to increase in the diet the basic foe. The basic foe mean you eat, you exercise, you eat good nutrition from the garden mostly. So most of your food should be 70 to 75% food from the garden, weekly, daily. That means you wake up, you must eat live food, live fruit. I don't care if you think they're producing them with some chemical, eat live food.
And live is
Exercise,
important. I want to
live,
emphasize,
because
right?
live
Live is
mean you're
important.
alive. Any food that you're cooking, you're overcooking, you're dead, you're not putting life in you, you're putting an acid, a citric, some type of acid food based on your body that your body has to redigest differently to give you the energy you're looking for. And a lot of time you don't get them, even if it's naturally mixed. A lot of people think they mix legume, they cook it with oil and meat, they eat it together, they're getting a good mix. No, that's not a good mix to make a good body. Because whatever you're mixing in that pot, you become, and you behave as such. You don't just become your food and presentation, your sound, your attitude, your interaction with others depend on your nutritional value, nothing else. Your performance at work, how much money you make, how you see the world, how you interact, how you see religion, how you care about God, how you care about your family, all based on your nutritional intake. Nothing is more important than that, because that's what builds you from a baby to the person you are today. So you must take key, and because the heaven is so forgiving, every 18 months to 24 months, it gives you a chance to have a new body. You can always restructure your representation. So the four is nutritional, exercise, some type of a natural supplement on top of the food you're taking, and then a consistency of good thoughts and meditation, clearing your mind, how you speak, how you see the world. Stay away from expressing negative sound, because negative sound comes back to you. Stay away from watching a lot of negative behavior and physical, because the body doesn't know whether it's watching something real or not. It's just going to have an emotional reaction. Like if you're watching a love story, you want to fall in love as you see the characters falling in love. That emotions, the body's you looking at it as you are falling in love,
Right.
because you feeling the emotion the person is feeling. It doesn't know the difference. So those things make your blood behave differently. If the blood sees something terrible, you're watching something bad, and you constricting, you reacting scared, the body doesn't know you're afraid for real or you're faking it. It just know you're afraid. So you lose oxygen and life deprivation because you are shocked, and slow your system down. The digestive system could the nerve in your digestive system could immediately shock itself and stop eating because it thinks you're seeing you afraid. So it is very important. People at work, if they don't have a good base to be at work, they're gonna react spastic. They're not gonna perform well. They make less money, and less growth happens to them because of the nutritional value that they don't have. So these are the things that I would suggest people do tremendously. And you need, if you do not have the momentum, go see a guide, some sort of a person who's coaching you, even though you're paying them a little extra than you would normally do for yourself. But the idea is the synergy of the person supporting you is going to motivate you to perform even better, because you're not alone. Cells perform together in synergy when they come together. So human beings need to understand that a human next to you to help you is not a bad thing at all, because their energy sometimes can make your energy work better to do the job.
And that's perfect. One of the things that we've talked about and has always been a surprise to me, or was a surprise to me, was the importance, and you mentioned a little while ago, just the importance of your blood, right? Making
Yes.
sure that your blood is healthy. And so, one of the things again that we had spoken about is when people talk about anemia, right? I'm anemic. People say that all the time, and it's almost become like a really common thing in our society. But you have always said that that is the number one thing that people should be concerned about. Like anemia is something that you shouldn't dismiss. And so, can you explain why?
Yes, because when they tell you a woman in this world, the hemoglobin level, which is your protein oxygen level, which is really your oxygen tank, let's call it, in your blood that science biochemist measures to see how well are you performing. That's your level. If there was a little yellow, red, green button that would show you lights in your body to show you when you're depreciating, that's how I would measure your hemoglobin level, which is when you depreciate of it, you become anemic. Anemia simply means your blood is losing oxygen level, which is losing life. You're really dying because your blood is your life. It is through the blood you create the body parts. So if you go to a doctor, a woman's supposed to be at 15.1 level, a man's supposed to be at 17.5 or 6 in terms of oxygen level, and you find yourself around 10, 9, you even if you find yourself around 11, 12, the doctor is going to say you fine. Just need to increase your iron or this, but that's not the case. The case is you're supposed to look at if you are anemic, the body can only make parts with what it has. That means you're making anemic parts. If you're anemic and you remain anemic and all year long you're taking iron pill because that's what the doctor tells you to take, and then you maintaining that way, your body's only gonna make those parts, and if you're reproducing a child, you're gonna reproduce that similar child in that same image. Anemia is depreciation of value in your nutrition. Your nutrients is low in value. You don't have enough elements that's working properly in levels to balance your body out. So it's not just the iron pill. A lot of times they tell people eat spinach and go take an iron pill. That's not just what you need. You need to reevaluate your system, especially if you're a certain size. You need to reevaluate your system, look around your environment, how you're interacting with people, how you're living. That's causing your blood to depreciate so much because it is a depreciation. If you're around 7 out of the scale, both parties, and you get shocked, you'll die a lot of time. You get around 5, 4, you're dead. So it's not a long levels to go to get into trouble. You pass 1, 2 degree of those levels, you're supposed to be concerned to maintain them all the time. And how do you maintain them? Again, back to nutritional value. What are you putting in your mouth? When you go do the checkup with your doctors, you ask them further than I'm low on iron, low on zinc. What vitamin do I need to take? No, you need to understand how to go back to eat raw, fresh food mixed with your regular diet that you like, even if you are eating meat or you're eating grains, you're eating beans and all those things, you're cooking food, that's okay. While you're doing that, the first thing you need to do is to add some live food to your body, which is preferably a bowl of fruits in the morning as soon as you wake up. You eat that, that already gonna intake give you more vitamins, more of the energy rather you would need to increase some of the white blood cells that's going to be low, to increase your blood cells in general. It's going to give better information to the plasma to make the cells function better because that's where they feed from. You know what I mean? So you need to get the gunk out, to all that oil and the grease you're putting in. Those things help fight those things. It breaks them down so you can digest them. So it is very important that even if you're not eating a lot of live food, then you're in an anemic state. Even if you think you are allergic, the reason you're allergic to something is because you're weak in the system. You're not gonna. How could you be in a place where human beings are fully ripe eating fruits, and then you find out you're allergic to fruits? You cannot be allergic to God. You have to reconfigure the parents, the mix that made you poorly, so you're not able to perform certain things. But once you add those things to your diet after a few months, you'll be able to eat whatever you were allergic to. So a lot of people, the reason I sway into the allergic part while I'm talking about that is because a lot of people say, well, I'm anemic. I cannot eat fruits. I cannot eat this thing. Doctor says my sugar level is this. Well, you got to ask the doctor. You came to earth, you find food sweet. The garden made a lot of fruits. That means the human body needs sugar. The type of sugar that you put in it will clog it or make it run properly. If you put a synthetic sugar made by men, manipulated by men, yes, you're going to get a backfeed of terrible results after a while. But if it is sugar out of nature, it will never give you never be diabetic. If anything, then the gorilla and every other animal that lives off of fruit would be diabetic because that's all they eat all their lives. So my suggestion to people in anemia is, okay, as soon as you find out you're anemic, don't just walk around, especially women, and says I'm low in iron, my period come, I'm in cramp, it's because I'm weak, I'm anemic. No, you are a weak person walking around. You will produce a weak person as well. You will behave weakly as well. You will behave in an anemic functioning all around. How you talk to people, how tired are you, how much energy you have to explore certain things. You're not gonna be a person that's gonna perform properly. It's very important not to make that light. I know we walk around and say, I'm just anemic, I need a lot of iron and a little spinach, I'm back to normal. No,
Right.
you need to look at your system and look at how weak are your elements you're lacking. Are you lacking sulfur? Are you lacking radium? Are you lacking sodium? What are you missing that's making your body going out of whack? And if it was your car, you would do that analysis and go replace. So do the same thing, whether you're a mechanic or not, you would go replace. So do the same thing for you. Say, okay, I feel weak, I'm anemic. It's not a good state to be in because that's a lack of protein oxygen or protein, your protein level in your system is wrong. Your hemoglobin level. Like I tell a lot of clients, I say, when you go to the doctor for a checkup, one of the first things you must ask him, what is my level? What are my hemoglobin level? That way, whatever sickness you have, if you can change the blood pattern, the blood situation, it will change the organs and everything else. So you could know once you go to the doctor, these are the things. What you say it's at 10, I'm down 5 if you're a woman. Okay, all right, what I have to do to increase my level, because it's important to increase so it could work the body better and reproduce better parts. Your diet of exercise would not just include just go and work out and then eat okay. You would just make sure that, okay, what chemistry do I need to do to increase the value of those things that are down, that are making me weak?
And that is the challenge for you talk to a lot of business people, particularly those who have to travel or those who have a lot to do. They grab what they can as they go. And so we've talked about the importance of having good nutritional input. The other thing that business people deal with a lot is stress. And so you were also saying that stress, right? Your mindset or how you feel or your emotional, however unsettled you are emotionally around things, also has an impact on how your body is functioning.
That is correct. I mean, we're going into the state of quantum physics, quantum energy, frequency, vibration. People are, a lot of people today are talking about vibes. I'm with this vibe. I'm with that vibe. I have a story called the Hennessy story. It's a quick story. I won't get into it, but since I mentioned it, I'll go above it. It's about a guy who used to drink a lot of Hennessy. Him and his wife. He made a daughter that they call Hennessy because of the liquor. And then when Hennessy got older and she got into a relationship, she started acting spastic to the point where she spastic out, blank out, and killed the person. And when they look back into her buildup, even in her system, they find out that she was never a normal human being. She had a bunch of disturbance within her nervous system because she was made from a sperm that was made out of a lot of chemical that had depreciation. People do not think when they're at the club, at the bar, they're eating and drinking, whatever they are, when you go plant that seed, that's what you are making. You can only make what you are. That is why women or men and women can tell you their taste and their private partner's parts, the fruits they just ate. If you ate pineapple, you taste the sperm of a man, you'll taste this pineapple within half an hour from his digestion. So you can tell if he was planting that seed, he would have pineapple in it. So what we're trying to make you understand is this is the important part of good nutritional value is you are what you eat and you can only make what you are. So if a person come here with a bad production to begin with, and then you raise this person in the environment, you give them responsibility, they will not be able to deal with this responsibility like a person who was eating good organic food, who planted a seed that became a person that is in good shape, good balance, versus your child who was made out of liquor because you ate a lot of liquor and a lot of bad food. So you're in business, you're running around, you're having a lot of drinking, you at dinner a lot, you're at the restaurant a lot, you're eating steaks late, you're eating late, you're at the hotel, you're getting food late and it's fried food. you're not exercising, you're chasing money and money, no, you are rotting your body. You will never be able to perform properly. Because what you're doing, you're trading one for the other. You're destroying you to have an answer with the job. But what's happening while you're doing that, you're losing yourself. Because what you end up losing is the performance. Because as you go along, you're adding this food that you don't think is damaging you. You're not doing any chemistry to help you perform for tomorrow. Tomorrow's harvest for you is going to be detrimental because you're not thinking about the chemistry that you put in your mouth is equaling to the performance you're doing when it's exactly that. So if a person is in business in transition, your best bet is first you have to learn to do business differently. You have to really plan out, I have a body in this day and age that lasts about 70 years in good condition, let's say, give or take. You got to know the first 20 you spend with your parents. The next 40, you're going to be working and developing. Then what do you do after that? Can you do another 40? And it's all based on chemistry and how a lot of time people say, I'm working to retire. Retire to do what? You must always be moving. So you must plan now not to just work. You must make work a lifestyle rather than a specific. I wake up, I do things that equal to value to others, that gives me something in value in return, but I live my life in between that. It is not I'm sacrificing my life to work this job, or I'm killing myself eating burgers and hot dogs and liquor on the road to get information home, and I don't even make it back home because I destroy my body along the way. You're looking at most of the men at the airport, they have a past 35, 40, their belly is huge, they're walking really fast, they're not friendly, they're belging, they're sitting at they're oversized, both men and women, and they're very aggressive. That is why there's so much security and so much padding, so much this at the airport, because people are time bomb walking around based on the chemistry they're doing to their bodies. How are they applying nutritional value? If you disconnect from the garden, you are disconnecting from God completely, the whole system. You are a mechanical thing. If you're eating, if most of your food in your cupboard is a bunch of food in boxes with colorful things on them and oil and this and that is your mixture, you do not have a lasting impression on this earth. You're only here for 30 years, and out of that, you're gonna act crazy. You're gonna be nervous. You're gonna have all these things they're naming now, whether it's ADHD, ADHD, all these letters that are coming to describe a human going to attack you because you're creating an environment to receive those things. The human being is made to make a great version of itself and multiply. How do you make a better version of yourself? You look at nature. You got to think the sun has something to do with me. The outside has something to do with me. All that environment, I have to build a suit called a body to sustain all the difficulty, all the chemical, the car and the dust and all those things that are making around me. I have to have an immune system to be able to resist those things, to adapt to it. That is why you must make it priority one, if you love anyone, to take care of yourself, because you must love yourself first to express that love, whether it's your children, your wife, or the wife for the husband and the children. The idea is self-love, give love to others. If you sacrifice yourself, you say, I'm taking care of my children or this, that's why I'm sick, you're a fool. You're not doing the proper order. No matter how much love you think that is a false love. True love is you take care of yourself first properly, and then the kids learn from that, and then you take care of them along the way how they do it. That's how nature shows everybody how to do it. They watch from their mommy and daddy how they behave, teach them how to hunt, and then let them go. You need to do the same. You need to teach yourself, you need to love yourself properly, and that healthy love transcends to your children and your spouses. And then it's energy, it's synergy, it becomes synergy. So I disagree with the way people work today, because I think it's slavery without the chain. And it's worse because it's abusive, it's mental, it's abuse, it's an invisible abuse versus the chain and the whip. Whether you're talking any color, it's not anything to do with race. It's just the idea the way people are working. It's not gonna get good production past 20-year cycle, if that.
And I think that's the biggest challenge for most people, is that we are taught that you have to hustle, you have to grind, you have to sacrifice. Like, those are all the things that are kind of ingrained in our system. That if you're going to do well, like, you have to do those things. You do have to sacrifice parts of yourself. What you're saying is that your first job, right? And that's what I've learned, is that your first job is really taking care of you, and making the time, not sacrificing. If you're going to sacrifice, it's sacrificing in other places, but you never sacrifice yourself to be able to function.
I've mentioned to clients, and they think I'm harsh, even when they come see me with their kids. And just recently, I was telling a client, I say, you must take care of yourself first, because you can reproduce, the kids cannot reproduce, and they're not worth anything. They don't know where they're at. They think it's the kids first. I say, no, you must see yourself first. It's not selfish. To love anybody, including a mate or children, you have to love yourself. How you take care of yourself, how you preserve yourself, going to motivate the person to preserve themselves as well. So the mother usually takes care of the chemistry of the house. She must be the one that's taught properly how to take care of herself, how she take pride on keeping her weight properly, how she eat good food, which is going to educate, if she has a daughter, this is the way to take care of myself too, because that's how mommy does it. People always tell you, I do this because that's how my mama did it. Well, then what's happening? If you are out of shape and unhealthy, then your mama told you how to be that as well.
Right. And what's interesting is there are now more, increasingly so, documented cases of these things. That they say that if you were to survey children in terms of how they felt, this was particularly about moms, kids felt better and more secure in moms who were more secure in who they were and how they felt about themselves. Didn't matter whether they stayed home or they went to work. It mattered whether they felt that the moms were secure in who they were.
The reason you have motivational speakers, people who make a living out of motivating others to be their best selves, is based on that ideology. Right. That the monkey see, monkey do. We are symbiont. We photocopy each other. We do photosynthesis with the sun as an education. Wherever we are, we copy. You inside the house, believe you me, you behave like your house wherever you live. Because everything around you is shaping you, because you are translucent. So you're absorbing all types of different behavior. If you do not make a clean body, it's like magnetizing the wrong information to come to you. You can only magnetize the body you build. You see, physical people who are in great shape, who are model, attract beautiful people who are those types of people. People who is not so attractive get whatever they get. And they can change that factor by just choose to change themselves if they want a better result. You magnetize what you are. So it is a priority, if you love your children, you love your spouses, to always take care of yourself, because they're going to get the best version of a human being to love and care for. If you do not do it, what they are getting is a random anomaly of a human being interacting with them, and call it life with no specific. This is the reason why, a bunch of people who are in the United States, especially in the lower or middle class lifestyle or urban area, or whatever they call the oppressed environment, even non-oppressed, let's say the whole place. The drug era make a bunch of children that were nervous system dysfunction. You notice a lot of people are nervous today. A lot of people are stressed. They call this the generation of lazy people. But what people not realizing, you created those people based on who you were, your diet, your lifestyle. And if you look back 40, 60 years ago, what people were eating, what they live like, equals to the people we have today. If you look 40 years ago, you look at what people were living like, what they were eating, what they entertained, how were the attitude, they made the version of themselves of today. And that version is only testifying what you produced to what you were thinking and what you were like then, what you were eating. So if you have a child today that is extremely nervous, disturbing the environment, well, it's not God's fault. You created that based on your chemistry. It's not just a hospital you run into, it's what they do outside. If they're not performing properly, it's your creation. It's not just, parents usually get credit for my kids is amna kulanda, they got good degree, they got their PhD, they're lawyer, they're this. I'm very proud of my child, but they don't take pride on the one that are falling apart in society and not looking at themselves and say, I made this and how did I do that? And it's not God's fault. It's on your chemistry. The fried food you were eating, that burger you love to eat all the time, the pizza that was your main food, that's what you made. You made a pizza child. And that child, if it's pizza dough chemistry, is going to have nervous system disorder, lungs issue. It's not going to have proper chemistry of a body to perform the task in the earthly environment. When you made a human being, you're making them to come to deal with this environment. If you don't put proper nutritional value into you to reproduce, you're going to reproduce a random sick person that's just going to depreciate through time very fast. We're coming from time where we used to live 1,500, 800 so-called years. Now we can even do 70 properly without falling apart. And all that you have to look at the diet. You can even look at the nutritional value, what we did 50, 60 years ago, how people were living and functioning versus now.
And it's the expectation that we're not going to make it past a certain age. Like it's the expectation
to think that
at
60 is old.
And 70, we're supposed to be falling apart. Yeah.
And you don't even know you're just learning what you're doing literally right around that time, because the first 20 you don't know. The next 10 you're trying to figure out how you're going to work. The next 30 you're working to maintain a family. You're 60. And what did you get to discover? You didn't do nothing. So the first 20 you should have been learning the value of planting food, making better bodies. And if you're going to reproduce right now, what I'm going to advise people in the future on many different conversations is if you're going to produce a child, you must take a sabbatical time between both couples where you go rebuild your body. We created this thing, and it's all due to the production and how we're presenting to each other. We believing that we are each other's enemy from baby. You have to be afraid of who? The same human beings that God created in God's image. So now either the gods are crazy for making different versions that's not that's not complying, or we have to review how are we living under the God creation. Are we doing what we're supposed to do in terms of our chemistry to exist in this environment properly? If you're not doing the work, why should you get the result? You want to be a good person? Did you make a good body? If you're not taking care of a good body, there's no way that body is going to be doing good things, good thinking, good functioning. I don't expect when I see a person not taking care of themselves to properly, even if they have things they can talk nicely for a moment, I don't expect them to perform consistently that way. Because they don't have a presentation that says this is suitably to deal with the duration of life in this environment called Earth. There are rules here. The sun is a certain degree for a reason. The jungle is a certain way. You cannot be living here in your own free will of creation of yourself and expect to be accepted in the environment. It will reject you. So it is not a choice. It is a priority one of all things you care about to take care of yourself if you care about the world, if you want peace. Because your filthy body, no disrespect to anyone, is the cause and effect of why we're having filthy results. When my clients come to me with nervous disorder, once they get to a certain type of therapy, they get through maybe 4 or 5 therapy, they no longer have those behavior. They're very fast removing themselves from those spastic, argumentative behavior. I've been to people home where they said, thank you, my sister don't yell anymore. When she was yelling, it's because she couldn't express herself because her body the nerves were twisted. So you see in our community, the Black community, we talk loudly, is because we oppress people who made terrible body. And if you look at diet, if it wasn't for our melanated body, it would have been destroyed because the nutritional value were not there. Even though we eat better than the others, we're in the jungle, but we ate a lot of chitlins and this and that and the worst crumb, flour food, bread. That is why still today we have the southern food that we call a good meal, cornbread, chitlin, collard greens, which is not a good mix. but the person is conditioned. That was the food that saved my grandparents, and they made it, and I eat it now, and this is our culture. No, that's not a good culture. That is a slow poisoning nutritional value. Not that you can eat those things in a oneness and survive, or a few here and there, but if that is a consistent diet, you're not gonna be making people in that environment that's gonna be processing a creative world.
And so what I do want to say to folks who are listening, who are just like, oh my God, like what am I going to do? I have to change. Everything is doomed. I am no good. I just have to go to bed and pull the covers over my head. That one of the things I do appreciate about working with you and learning with you is that every day is an opportunity, and every day is a process. And so I think it's important that you also talk about how, so you're not saying that everybody's now got to go and be vegan, or no one's got to go and be like, this other thing, that you can make incremental changes. But the point is to make the change. The point is to take the first steps to actually change who you are.
The idea is simple. It's not about a specific vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, keto whatever yin you want to be. That's your prerogative. But what I would say to you is more chemistry. It's specific. It's not so much you eating too much saturated fat, too much this. Yes, environmental, if you're in heating environment versus cold environment versus this and that, diet is important to approach a certain way. But the human is made as a photosynthesis to adapt no matter what environment you put it in, somehow, some way. Now, based on what duration you want in life and performances, you are functioning a certain type of way, which means I don't mean to make people feel gloomy. If anything, when you hear what you have to do, that is the sign that you're getting your answer. Not to look at it from a disappointing, oh my God, what am I going to do? No, you simply got to go to the garden. You came from the garden. You eat animals that are in the garden still today. You see them only eat, a cow only eat grass. You see it gets all the minerals and all the elements that it needs, and it feeds you. You cannot get the fresh information from the cow because the cow is already in another process. You get what you get out of the cow, which is going to be depreciated water, because you're not made simply to eat that cow. You're more made to eat garden food, fruits, vegetable, grain, leaves, and they're specific for information that the sun is programming in you to deal with the environment you are in. The sun is your Lord and Savior, whether you want to look at it that way or not, because it gives life and take life. It provides a coding energy as a ray to enter a translucent body, and it also program to clean it and recharge it, and it also program a bunch of coding, which are food. For a human, coding is food, and it made them in the image of plants, so-called plants that are alive, to code you to a better environment, to make the environment proper, to not be all over the place, to understand the God thought. The leaves are cells, the fruits are energy source, and then the ground fruits are electrolyte food, the yam and the patat. They need to build your body based on the environment you're in, based on what you're going to do. You build a certain type of body. A lot of people build body, they're not doing nothing with it. They just sit around and then to look cute. That's not enough. Energy energy must use. Energy must replace. You must always be in transition as an energy source. Energy must always be moving to be alive. Which means it doesn't mean you're running all over the place. It means you must always stay active and conscious of making a better version of yourself. It is duty number one prior to your children, prior to your riches. I hate no disrespect, I hate using the word hate. I dislike when I'm around people who are successful financially, but who are tremendously poor representation in their physiology. How could you have so much money and look so disheveled? If you have that much money, even if you're ignorant about taking care of yourself, that money is supposed to be taking care of you now. You're supposed to give somebody that money to guide you and build you a better body, because what's the point of having the money if you're not going to enjoy it for anything? So being sick is not a guessing game. It is something that happened purposely, whether you are conscious or not. having a bad body, it's something from my experiences that you do consciously. Because once you decide to work out and focus on it, you see changes right away. It is a self-destructing state of mind that we are in, that we keep making excuses. Oh, God made me this way. Death come around 70. I cannot wait for it. I'm only saving for the children. I am ready to go. What did you do on earth? Nothing. If you feel like you're bored, you don't have a long time to be here, we have plenty of problems to solve. So that means there's plenty of job for you to do. So the only thing I see human beings are doing wrong is not maintaining a good physiology. If they do that, everything else fall into place. Because if by taking care of you, you know how to take care of the earth. Because if you're taking care of yourself, automatically you get all the answers you're looking for. You want riches? You want a lot of money, a lot of wealth? You build a great body. You're going to think clearer. You're going to process information faster. You're going to see the road to the success faster. It's not just an athlete who need to train to perform. It's all of us. You want to be having $1 million or 2 million, 100 million. You build a good body. You process information. You will get it. But if you have a terrible body, it will never see the clarity to get it. You'll get lucky. You'll do one thing well and you'll get a lot of money. You'll play stock market and you'll get lucky. You'll make money. You'll play the lottery and you'll work a job a long time, but your full potential was never used. Because the human is a prism. It was not built to do one thing or two things. It's built to do universally infinite possibilities. So my thing with humanity is, don't be disappointed if you hear you're not doing the right chemistry right now. But as we discussed before, and we mentioned just now, nature forgives you. Every 18 months to 2 years, you get to change your body if you want to. Every 120 days, you have new cells made out of your bone marrow. Like your body changes throughout 2 years, 18 months to 2 years, so-called 2 years. So if you start right now by just increasing some garden food, not running away from your diet, don't completely jump. Do not listen to people who take you from eating meat to quickly eating greens. Take your time. You eat a lot of meat, cut it in half, eat half version, add more greens. And slowly adjust, because you are in perpetuity. You were made in perpetuity. You fed yourself in perpetuity. You got sick in perpetuity. It needs to happen the reverse way as well. In perpetuity, you make a good body. It's not an overnight thing. It's not, oh, I'm going to my girl wedding. I need to lose 10 pounds. Can you help me? No. It's you need to build a body to always go to any wedding you want with the right dress you want without worrying about that. It is to teach you that every day matter on how you take care of yourself and how you think. That's going to stop you from insulting another, from hurting another, from attacking to solve a problem. Because all those things are derivative of having a bad body.
And I do want to say again, for those who are listening, I am, for full disclosure, I am a client, and yeah, and I've seen those things, yeah, and so and he is tough. All right, so if you all are saying like, oh my God, how is he? Yeah, they didn't ask any of that. I'm just saying, because I'm imagining how people might be feeling listening to this. But yeah, he is tough. But I can honestly see the difference in eating differently. And again, I felt I was eating well before. But yes, increasing live foods and thinking differently about situations and understanding, what my blood levels are, so that I can give my body what it needs, and appreciating that, I didn't have to do anything drastic. I didn't have to change everything, because I am a meat eater, but I've drastically reduced the amount of meat that I consume. In fact, I've just kind of lost the taste without actually just like cutting myself off. So I wanted to add those things because Johnny Desarmes is a tough coach. And has really strong opinions on not strong opinions, I should say. Understands the body in a way. Yeah, understands the body in a way that I think that many of us don't. And yeah, so I'm hoping that that the people who needed to hear this have heard it, and will begin today to make whatever necessary changes that they need to make to become a better, more productive business person. Well, thank you, Johnny Desarmes. Thank you for sharing and
You
giving
asked
us
for it.
such. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I'm like I said, I'm a client, so I
Yeah.
understand this on a very personal level. And like I said, I can see the difference. And when you do understand, right? When you do, one of the things you talked to me during one of our training sessions was that, yeah, my most important work was me, was to work on
Yes.
me and to focus on me every single day. And it's a challenge to do that, but that's why I thought it was important for us to do this show.
Don't you see cut off before you go off? Don't you not see your family life and everything in your life changes
Has
because of that
changed
gradually?
as a result of that.
That's
Everything,
what the people need to understand.
everything. I've gotten more. I have gotten more business.
Yes.
Right. I have developed better relationships at home.
Yeah.
I do feel my confidence levels are obviously have improved. There have been tremendous benefits, and
How the
so
compliments from friends and foes.
right. Yes. Yes, all of that. And but what's important for people to understand is that, yeah, it really does start with you, and that you have to take the step. The business, yes, you have a lot. I mean, I have, anybody who knows me knows I have tons of creative ideas. I have you know a number of creative ventures that I am pursuing. But to be able to move through any of these things, you have to have a physical presence. You have to have a physical functioning presence, a mind that's processing, a mind that can receive additional creative thoughts, that can receive insight, that can attract better things to you. And so, yes, I hope that you all can take all of this and understand the importance of working on yourself, working on your body, working on the things that you put in, whether it's physical, the things that you eat, or the things that you ingest because of your environment, or the things that you watch on TV, or whatever platforms that you subscribe to. The importance of doing that. And so, thank you, Johnny Desarmes. For being here with us and imparting your wisdom. We look forward to having you back, because you are growing this practice to do some really inventive and creative things that will change the way people think about nutrition, think about health, think about fitness, and more importantly, things that they will be able to attract into their lives, or set up in their lives, so it becomes a system that they can manage.
We can do our part because we have to plant better version of ourselves to get a better version of ourselves. Because that's what we're all asking for. And I'm trying to be part of that love.
So thank you again. We hope to have you back to talk about some of these newer projects.
Yes, ma'am.
And for the rest of the listening audience, we thank you for being here. We wish you the best. I look forward to seeing you, or hearing you, or you hearing me next week, as we bring you another dynamic guest. Take care.
Yes, love to all.
The Business First podcast is hosted and produced by Sonia Aline. Associate producer, Ariel Mancebo. Executive producer, Ken Johnson. Find the Business First podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. And on social at business_first_podcast on IG. The Business First podcast is a Mean Old Line Media production.